Hi, this is just quickly to show you how to use the NGS. If you go to the NGS website, you can join first of all and check out things like your account once you have joined. But today we'll talk about the user tools and how to get on and run a computational chemistry job. So the first thing you'll need to do is use the certificate manager, the certificate management wizard, which you can download from the site. So you just download the VOMS enabled one, and once you've done this, it will come up in a window which you can go through and set up certainly for your proxies. And more instructions on this is on the NGS website, and they're quite clear, so that should be fairly straightforward. If you already have set everything up, you can check your proxy like so by typing in your private key password, and that should then confirm whether you've uploaded a proxy or not and exactly what it is and what the expiry date is. So we can also upload create a local proxy rather. We can add VOs to that, but we won't talk about that in this particular tutorial. There's more information on certainly setting up your proxies through the website. So logging in, we use the GSSI term, and this is an SSH client specially developed by NGS. It works through a very secure system, and we can either use VOMS configuration or no VOMS, and we'll use VOMS for this particular session because it's just easier. So you'll need to make sure that you have everything set up for that. So when you start up the client, it comes up with a blank window. You want to connect, and you just press on the connect button, and the broker, which allows you to distribute your processors to many different machines, as is in the NGS UI number 3, and we authenticate using VOMS, using your grid certificate, and we then select the NGS and initialize that. That should be a quick process. If it isn't, then you probably haven't got your firewall set up right. So at this point you can select yes or no. Not really that much of a problem unless you specifically need a very long VOMS. So you can check the VOMS details just to make sure that your proxy has been set up right. So by typing in your VoxyProms info, you'll see that there's quite a lot of information, and the important thing is the time left. So you need a JDL file in order to run things, which will be set up for your specific type of job. So we can set up one of those, but the first thing we'll need is a directory which has our files in it that we'll need. So we're making a directory polytunnel under dlpoly, and then going back and editing a new JDL file called poly.jdl, and we're putting in what we've seen before. We have our config, control and field files that we need for running a dlpoly job, and we need to change some details here. So we change to polytunnel, so we've got the right directory, and you'll need to specially change the quadruple 0 there to whatever your NGS username is in order to get this to work. So once we've typed that in, we can type in our glite commands to check that our job's going to run on one of the machines. So this checks to see which machines that we're going to be that will allow us to run dlpoly 2.19, and for us that's the NGS at Rutherford Appleton and the Leeds NGS. So now we want to upload some files, and we actually have a separate client in here, which is a GSI SSH version. We can download files, make new folders, rename things, add files to the remote file system, which we're going to do just now. So I've already set up some files in NGS ready to go for our test, and we can just upload those to our polytunnel directory. So those will take a little time to upload, and once that's done, what we want to do is check back just to make sure that these have uploaded. So if we go back to our terminal window, we can have a look in our dlpoly polytunnel directory, and hopefully what we see is all of those files. So that's great. We can now shut down our SSH, and we've got our files. Right, so once we have our files uploaded, we'll want to actually run a job. So provided that our JDL file is correct and has our username in there, and that our config, control and field files are the correct files for running our job, we just need to type in the submit command. We type it in with this job IDs to record the job ID so we can check things later, and we submit it to our job file. So hopefully we get the submit success, which is great, and we can then check to see that that job has been queued up successfully. So we use the status command for that, and now we use our job IDs, which we recorded before, to check it successfully uploaded and scheduled, ready to go. So we're checking it's still scheduled, that's great. So now we'll want to check to see exactly what's happening. We can open a new window with our terminal, but this time we actually want to go to the machine on which our job will be running to have a look what's happening. So if we go to NGS at Rutherford Appleton Laboratories now, we connect there. We do want to log in with our VOMs, so we type in our passphrase again, and this is similar to logging in to the broker system, just as we did before. So that quickly queries the VOMs, and now we can have a look and see what's around. So if I ls and have a look, there's a lot of files there. The important one is the directory, which is gram scratch, and then there'll be a lot of numbers after that, and that's usually your running jobs. Now if something's running, then we'll have a .mpi folder and another folder which will contain all of our running things, but we haven't got that yet, so the job's still scheduled. We can qstat-a, and what we see is user NGS 0107 has got a lot of jobs running, and our job is down the bottom waiting. So presumably we're going to have to wait for quite a time until we have a free set of ports, so quite a number of jobs on here waiting until we get to some which are running. So hopefully that will be our job soon enough, but in the meantime we're just going to have to wait until our job can find a slot. So that's checking, as I said, for our file. We can just double check to see it hasn't started running in the meantime, and no, it's still scheduled. Right, so we check our job again, and hey, excellent, it's done. So we can then check in our directory to make sure everything's run properly, and yeah, we've got our output, revcon and revive files, which is great. We can check, just make sure our output has worked as we hope it has, and yeah, that looks all fine. So our job's run, and that's great.